Hey guys, how's it going? Guess what? This has been a really good first week.
Good kickoff.
Yeah,
great kickoff.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about so many different things. I mean, what to expect in this journey. I mean, getting all this wisdom and understanding. I mean, we've really covered a lot. What do you guys say?
Well, there's a lot of information that we've gone over, but you know what I'm not necessarily looking forward to? Next week.
I know.
Next week's coming. I mean, I don't know. The whole point behind fasting, right? I have a feeling we're really fasting some things that we may have some attachment to.
Well, Mike, I'm going to correct you. It's no Mike to it.
You're like, I already
Good point. Good point.
There's going to be some things, indeed.
See, I'm trying not to pull back the curtain too much.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to scare them off.
I know.
Well, that's where we got to implement James 1, right? Count it all joy.
Count it all joy.
There you go.
Yeah, and I think that is something that we're going to struggle with in all of the fasting, right? Is going to be that sense of we are attached to these things, and that is really the whole thing we've been talking about this whole week is that fundamental of fasting. Like, what is it? What is it doing? That removing and replacing aspect of it. That's really what we covered this week, because it's supposed to show us, as you well said, is on day 1 and day 2, it's that heart check. Does this have a hold of me, or do I have a hold of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of the things we're going to probably be looking at fasting are things that we are truly going to miss. Things that we do on a daily basis that now we're going to go without for a little while.
Yeah.
Just for a little while.
Well, and hopefully that little while kind of reshapes our lifestyle afterwards, right? Like after this 6 weeks, hopefully what it does is just kind of reorients things in our lives to say, hey, this thing, it's not a good or bad thing. It's just maybe a distracting thing, or it's I need to remind myself of the value of following Christ. And I hope that that's what this does, is creates that rhythm to say, I'm going to now have a tool in my tool belt to say my life's getting a little off kilter in my following of Christ, and so I've got this new tool called fasting, and I've got all these different ways and things that I can do of replacing that time, that effort, that energy.
Well, this is where we've been going over the spiritual understanding, and now we're about to go to the natural application.
I see what you did there.
It's what we're moving into.
So, what do you guys think of this first challenge for this first week, where we did simply it's not so simple really to self-evaluate, but we simply said, all right, every day spend some time in looking at what is going to hinder, distract you from this journey, from staying committed in this, and then what's going to help you, because sometimes we're always like, oh, that's going to distract me. It's like, what's going to help you so you know what to implement and what not? Like, what have you guys been seeing?
I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping that people are looking at more what's going to help them and not distract them. Yeah. If we're only focusing on the negatives, we kind of quit before we start.
Yeah,
that's true.
My hope is that everyone has gained an understanding and wisdom enough to move forward in this fast.
Right.
So not only that they just do it and say they've done it, but they come back indeed more prepared for their everyday life.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that people have really taken the initiative, taken the advice, and they're really writing down the things that are going to help them not hurt. Because some things are obvious where you're going to struggle.
Oh no, for sure. Like I know the areas I'm going to struggle. They're already there. They're very evident for me. And I'm just going to say one. Social media. Okay. That's one of my biggest distractions on the daily. All right, so I know that that's one of the things that I don't know if that's something that we could potentially put into this mix, but that's what.
We're not saying.
Not saying.
I can
just saying.
Confirm or deny.
Right, can't do either. But I know that for me, I put a lot of time into that.
Well, and I think that's the key, right? Is like, so thinking, what are all the things in my life, preemptively thinking, what are all the things in my life that probably have more of a hold on me than I think they do?
Absolutely.
And then, as Nathaniel well said, like, that was why we put out, like, not just what will hinder you, but what will help you.
Yeah.
Because if we just focus on, it's kind of like it's kind of like when you're riding a bike, and what's the number one rule? You always don't look down. Don't look down, right? Look up, right?
Sure.
But inevitably, what do? You look down. I think the hindrances are, yes, you have to know what's in front of you and what's going to trip you up. But more importantly, you got to look up. And I think that's really the key thing of the digital discipleship.
Right.
Is the people being placed with you through the digital group to say, where most of us are going to struggle in any of this.
Sure.
Is walking in our daily lives, right? Come next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're trying to do this thing, this fast, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That in its nature is so far outside of the normal order and the normal way the world works, that you can't just go, I mean, not like you can't, but like just going up to your friend at work that maybe is not a believer, or maybe, and you're like, hey, we're just talking about and hanging out. They're not going to understand. Oh, you're fasting. You're doing what? Like, you've got to bond with someone that's like-minded to say, hey, help me not abandon this, because we are in this world but not of this world.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing things to speak to us, and I think that's what the people around us are.
Mike, you were going to say something.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, because the buddy at work is going to be like, none of those people are around you right now, man. Why don't you just go ahead and break the fast? Like, just tell them that you continued. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, buddies are going to do that.
Instigators.
Like, no one's going to know. No one's going to know. And you're going to be like, I mean, God's going to know. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, he sees all and knows all. So.
Yeah.
But I think even that idea of, well, it's not wrong.
Right.
You know, like, it's not bad. Like, because we always want to deal in that good, bad. Like, it's not bad. It's like, no, but it's not. It's kind of like saying, is a Dr. Pepper good or bad for you? Well, one doesn't hurt you at all.
That's right.
But too much of it. And I think that's where we find ourselves in a natural world.
Since we're talking about like people identifying their like what's gonna help them versus hurt them, let's think about this.
Okay.
How many things do you think should be on someone's list as far as help? Like, should 3 be enough? 5, 6? Like,
oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, because we got they're gonna be writing this stuff down. And we want to make sure that they're not stumbling through their journey, but thriving through the journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah, for me, I mean,
would 3 be enough? Would 5? Would it need to be like it's 6 weeks, so maybe 6 things I know will help me?
Right.
I don't know. Like, just what do you think?
I mean, I don't know for a number perspective, but I do know this. From my perspective, I indicated that like social media is one of my big things, right?
Okay.
Again, just throwing that out there. But what's the entertainment behind social media, right? It's almost like a soap opera playing out for you, right? But it's real life, right? I mean, honestly, it really is.
I've never heard it referred to that way. But
let's be honest, because you're following everybody's stories and reading what they're putting in. I will tell you, one of the best things to look at is Scripture. If anyone would really dive deep into Scripture, define words, and understand what's being said, oh my gosh, the Bible is one of the best soap operas ever.
There's a lot going on.
It's the OG soap opera.
OG soap opera.
It is, man. If you start diving into Scripture and read about some of these things that happen, it's like, oh my gosh. Even Moses, right? Like Moses going up the mountain and everything, and going to God.
Which we're covering next week.
Yeah. And having these conversations, man, if you really pay attention to that and see what was really going on in those moments, it's like, oh my gosh, no way. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, that's one of the main things that I utilize. And then my second is probably, second, worship music, man.
Okay.
Now for me, worship music's just a big part of my life. I love listening to it anyway, but full transparency, I also love country music. I also love rock music. I like a big variety of music, but worship music, if you can put that as your focus, I know it helps me through a lot of my days. It's what I use when I am working. Like, if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm working, listen to worship music, and it truly does inspire me and help me through a lot of my day.
Sure. So. Well, you mentioned Moses next week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's week 2, right?
Yeah, week 2 is going to be a big week.
And then there's Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel's going to be coming up.
And then there is Elijah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Christ himself.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some...
We're going to be talking about the heavy hitters of fasting, basically.
For sure.
These guys are all the heavy hitters throughout Scripture. And when I say heavy hitters, not like they did it best kind of a thing, but like they're kind of the
they set the standard. Man.
Yeah, they're the structure for it all.
Yeah.
But to your point of how many should you do, like I'm kind of a funnel person. Right, I usually start with a whole bunch of things, but for me, I kind of go inactive if you give me too many things at once. You know, I'm kind of like give me one thing at a time. So for me, what I've been doing is I've been writing down all of the different things that will help, all the different things that will hinder, and I'm trying to just shrink it down and kind of funnel it into these are the top, for me, like 2 or 3 things that will help, and just really heavy hit on those. And like for me, I know one of the number one things that helps, as y'all can tell, I like to talk. I like conversations.
Wow.
So in my house, we are structured. You got 3 people that include a conversation.
Indeed.
I hate talking.
Indeed.
Never talk.
But in my house, we're setting up a kind of a thing where we get together and discuss through the day's devotional of like, what did everybody think about it? Because my whole family, we're doing it together, which I think family should be doing.
Yeah.
And that is kind of my number one. That will keep me centered and focused on like, yes, this is center in my life right now.
Okay.
Christ is obviously supposed to be the primary center, and this is the manner that I'm fulfilling that commitment right now.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, guys, leading back up to, the rest of these weeks going on, just get ready. Week two.
Yeah.
Day one.
Big challenge coming.
Big challenge coming.
Week two, it gets real.
It gets real. It gets real quick.
Yeah.
But if everyone has been getting the wisdom, getting the understanding, being intentional with the things that can either help or hurt.
Absolutely.
They will be prepared. Because this is not set up to make anyone fail.
No.
To strengthen.
As a matter of fact, earlier, Mike, you mentioned grace.
Yes.
If you would you speak a little bit more on that, man? It's a powerful letter word, man.
I mean, grace, right?
Yeah.
Grace or fail forward, right? It's another term that's used, but grace specifically, like just because you missed the mark one day, right? Okay. I mean, like, let's be honest.
What if it's 5 days? What if I've gone 5 days?
Gosh, if you have, you know what? You can still be forgiven again and again and again. And I think that we have to understand self-forgiveness, right? Are we going to hit the mark every single day? And if we miss it, are we just going to beat ourselves up and then just give up on the journey? Just like if we miss the mark in our faith walk, which everyone misses the mark.
Oh, indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
But do you just say, you know what? I'm done with this whole faith thing. I'm finished with it. I'm not going to follow any of this at all. So I think that grace is one of the greatest gifts, if you ask me, because it's that opportunity to continue pushing towards the mark, even though you keep missing it. But guess what? You keep getting up and trying again.
Yeah.
Each and every day. And I hope that people do that throughout this journey. Like, if there's a challenge that's issued and you miss a day of it, start again the next day. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing to the mark.
This man sitting next to me has made it very clear that this journey is going to definitely test you and stretch you.
Absolutely.
But if you fall forward. And be mindful that God's grace is sufficient, and it comes in waves of abundance.
Absolutely.
And really, the only way to fail is if you stop doing it. Just don't stop.
Right. If you
that's the only way to fail.
Absolutely. It's true.
Say that again, Jared.
Yeah. It's the only way you fail is if you stop. If you continue in.
So I don't fail if I go 6 weeks and I mess up one day, I didn't fail.
No.
I've only failed if I stop.
Yeah. If you stop. Okay. And I think obviously you could argue someone could maybe try to misuse that. It's like, no, like we're not here to try to judge people's heart motives. That's not, God only knows the intent of the heart.
That is true.
And so what we do is we bond together and we help each other through it so we don't stop.
Speaking of together, don't forget to reach out to those team leads and comment below. Yes. Do those things because that's what's going to make you feel connected. The solitude piece, you're going to have those moments where you feel kind of alone. But you're not by yourself.
Not by yourself.
Right. How many participants are on this journey?
We have 100.
Are we expecting?
Yeah, we have 101 currently.
All right.
So 101 participants in this current one.
I have a feeling it'll pick up just a little bit more. You never know, but I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I think some people should be maybe sharing the word or sharing and telling people that, hey, come and partake on this journey.
If you have family members that haven't joined in, have them join in right now before we get into the rest of the week. Catch up.
So they can join even though we've already started?
Yeah, until next week.
So
they've got one more, it's Saturday, so they've got Sunday.
Yeah.
Because after that it does shut down because now we're fully into the fast, so they can catch up on all this understanding for that first week, and then boom, we're there.
And maybe someone that's really spiritual and you want to challenge them. I feel like this is a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Wonderful. A wonderful opportunity. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You think you're spiritual? Let's take away this and this and this. Now replace 8 hours a day with this. But we're going to have fun in this, guys. We're going to have fun in this. So.